Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If this video goes up on time, and I hope it does, it'll be just hours away from Camp NaNoWriMo. And I filmed this once and parts of it got messed up, so I'm having to re-edit, so I'm really kind of pushing the wire here and hope that it gets up on time. But what I have for you today is 3 tools that I use when I plot. I haven't actually used them in probably over a year, and when I was having problems plotting out my Camp NaNoWriMo story, I was really stuck on a character, and I pulled these things out and kind of made a little game of it, used the tools, and it really jump-started me and got me going on the character that I was lost on. So I'm going to show you those tools today. That's what's coming up on this episode of The Story Detective. Stick around. While I've got you here, remember to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be reminded of future uploads. And anytime during this video when you see something you like, feel free to hit that like button. The first tool we're going to be using in this is called the Observation Deck by Naomi Epple. What this basically is, it says it's a tool for writers, and it is. There's a booklet and there's a deck of cards. You could basically use this in a couple of different ways. Each little section that has the definition for the card, you could kind of open at random or just pick one of the subjects that sound like it might be a solution for you. Or you can do what I do and just pick a card at random, which jogs your imagination. And that seems to work best for me when I have those random kind of suggestions to whatever I'm thinking. Do they always have an effect? Sometimes you'll get something that's pretty far off base, in which case I will write my thoughts down for that card because I'll sometimes come back to it later. And sometimes if you don't have an idea right away, it's good to keep the subject in mind because that, if you force yourself to think about it, you can usually come up with something. And if you think about whatever it is for a while, what you come up with will usually be just a bit of a fresher idea. So I'm going to pick one of the cards today. What I'm looking for essentially in my character would be his relationships. His relationships with his family, his wife and particularly his son. He's not that close to his wife and he really has high hopes for his future in his son. That much I know. How this is going to be played out, and when I'm drafting, I need to fill in some of those bigger pieces. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. I already pre-shuffled the deck. I'm just going to let the deck fall, let gravity take its course, and wherever it separates, that's usually the card that I choose. So this card is Change Your Point of View. So we'll look up and I'll give you the reading for that one so you can get an idea of exactly what this does. Change your point of view. I'm not going to read all of this because it's a few pages long and would probably take a little while, so I'm going to read some excerpts from it. Sue Grafton knew that her first book, A is for Alibi, had to be followed by one called B is for Burglar. But the second story was not coming together. She considered changing the title to B is for Blackmail or B is for Burning. But as she said in Writer's Dreaming, I have a certain interior writing machine that's very stubborn and dominating. And this little machine said, "No ma'am, I'm sorry, but this book is called B is for Burglar." So she put the book aside until one night an internal voice roused her from sleep. I suddenly understood I was to take the same story and tell it from a different angle. So where I had originally opened the book with the burglar's point of view, I simply shifted off to another character. I could retain all the work I had done, but just give it a different form. Hey.
Love you.
You too.
How's it going?
It's going good. I got some good ideas.
Good.
So far, so good. Variations. Take on the voice of an inanimate object and view the world through its eyes. For the Float Plane Notebooks, Clyde Edgerton wanted a narrator who had witnessed one family's life through several generations. He chose a wisteria vine to fill that role, opening with the words, "I was planted by the back door steps the day Thomas Pittman died." Pretend you are an object, a cup, a shoe, a book, or a pen. Write about this object in the first person. Give it a voice using the words "I am." Describe your size, shape, color, texture, how you feel in your surroundings. You can develop your monologue into a story, essay, or poem. or simply enjoy the insights you gain. Now, I haven't really thought about the story from the son's point of view and what the father wants for him because the boy is very young. So I didn't actually give him a lot of scenes. I don't think I've actually thought about giving him any scenes on his own. The battle is between the parents over the son in this particular case. So maybe taking the son's point of view, I can actually expand on a few things and think about what that might be like. And maybe it'll give me some ideas. So taking those ideas to the next tool, which is Roger Van Oak's Creative Wack Pack. This comes with a little booklet that describes how to use it. The card deck is in 4 different suits, and each suit represents something a little bit different. The cards in the Explorer suit highlight places and ways to find new information. The next suit is the Artist. The cards in the Artist suit provide you with idea-generating techniques. The Judge. Cards in the Judge suit lend decision-making advice. The Warrior. The cards in the Warrior suit give you the kick you need to get your ideas into action. Again, I pre-shuffled the deck, so I'm just going to kind of let them drop away again. Cut the deck. These are much shorter. You just read the definition that's on the cards. Try a random idea. There once was an Indian medicine man who made hunting maps for his tribe. When game got sparse, he'd put a piece of fresh leather in the sun to dry. Then he'd fold it and twist it, and then smooth it out. The rawhide was now etched with lines. He marked some reference points, and a new map was created. When the hunters followed the map's newly defined trails, they usually discovered abundant game. Moral: by letting the rawhide's random folds represent trails, he pointed the hunters to places they hadn't looked. Stimulate your thinking in a similar way. Open any book at random and put your finger down on a word. Magnet. How does it relate to what you're doing? What associations can you make? What random ideas can you try? It's that time on how the son is educated. Not a lot written in that round, but it's a couple of thoughts. I'm going to pick from the next and last tool and show you what that is. This one is called Stones from the Muse, Runes for the Creative Journey. They've made up various little rune stones, and there's a little bag to pick from them. Plus the little rune stones are kind of fun. So we're going to pick on the same thing about this guy's relationships and see what comes out. Okay. I've got a little shape of a moon. These are double-sided, by the way, so the moon was the one that was facing me. The other one looks like a clock on the other side. Moon. Dream time. Between sleep and wakefulness, there is a landscape where images drift, where connections float together, apart, then together again, where voices chatter, argue, sing, command. This dreamy land offers no permanence, but it can be fruitful when visited on its terms. It is the place of dreams. Dreams come in many forms: fragments after midnight, drifting day thoughts, sudden visions drenched in clarity, starry glimpses into tomorrow, desperate hopes for the future, night horrors. We can interpret dreams, categorize them, share them, work toward them, or ignore them. Sometimes a vital refuge, dreams occasionally prevent your real work from getting done. Then there are times when the energy of many people struggling for the realization of a dream ignites whole nations. For Moon, try this. Keep a dream journal. Don't worry about how useful your dreams will be to your work, or that you're forgetting fragments, or that you aren't doing it right. Even jotting down a word or two about your dreams in the morning will give you many of them back. And the ones you lose, they'll go back into the deep to wait until you catch them again. If your project could dream, what shape would its dreams take? Artistic creations, like children, may seem to belong to their creators, but they soon develop a place of their own in this world. Can you listen to your project's dreams? Well, the one piece was about the child's dream. Again, the child isn't old enough to specifically have his own dreams. Maybe it's actually not a dream, but rather just interests of his own. because his father has a very specific set of goals for the son. So in the way he handles his son's occupations or the things that he doesn't approve of might well be something that generates some scenes as I get going on the drafting of this. Every little piece helps. And these tools, they can be very useful. For the other character that I worked on that I had zero idea of where to go with her, picking these, I mean, it generated all kinds of ideas. So these are all pretty useful tools to have. And I think when you need some ideas, when you're stuck or facing writer's block, you don't know where to turn next, something in here can usually jog your mind free and give it some ideas that you didn't think of before. I hope you've enjoyed this last minute plotting session. It's been a long week. I've been filming ahead and trying to get ahead in as many things as possible, practicing what I preach for my tips in this video, and I hope you guys have gotten prepared as much as possible yourselves. Good luck to everyone who's entering Camp NaNoWriMo. I'll see you next time. Keep those keyboards clacking.